Han Li could see that Jin Tong was being overwhelmed, and he immediately vanished from the spot. In the next instant, he appeared right beside Jin Tong, as if by instantaneous teleportation, and a glowing golden fist shot out of his sleeve like lightning. The fist looked as if it had been carved out of radiant gold, and it was riddled with countless golden runes. A pillar of golden light that was as thick as a bucket erupted out of the fist with countless golden runes flashing within it, and it was giving off bursts of fearsome time law power fluctuations. The pillar of golden light clashed against the pillar of three-colored light with a resounding boom, and the nearby space shuddered violently as a series of ripples spread through the surrounding area. Much to Jin Tong's relief, the pillar of three-colored light was instantly stopped cold in its tracks. But as she turned to Han Li, a stunned look instantly appeared on her face as she exclaimed, "Your cultivation base." Qiuling was also scrutinizing Han Li intently from afar, and she was just as incredulous to sense the enormous golden immortal stage aura that was emanating from his body. Han Li loosened his fist before pointing a finger forward, and a near-transparent golden thread instantly appeared within the pillar of golden light. The golden thread was quite similar in appearance to the translucent threads unleashed by Jin Tong, but this one was clearly more powerful, and was giving off incredibly formidable time law power fluctuations. As soon as the golden thread appeared, the entire sky instantly dimmed in contrast. The golden thread shot through the air, appearing much like an extremely thin streak of golden sword chi, leaving a long tail of golden radiance behind it. In the blink of an eye, it vanished into the pillar of three-colored light before piercing directly toward Qiuling, and the pillar of three-colored light was being rapidly destroyed. Jin Tong immediately pounced on this opportunity, making a hand seal to release two more translucent threads that also hurtled directly toward Qiuling. In the face of the three law threads, the pillar of three-colored light fell away even faster, and most of it disintegrated in the blink of an eye like a mountain in an avalanche. Qiuling's expression changed slightly upon seeing this, and she immediately shot back in retreat. All of a sudden, Han Li pointed a finger forward, and the thin golden thread abruptly vanished into thin air. In the next instant, the space in front of Qiuling buzzed slightly as the golden thread reappeared without any warning. Countless bright golden ripples were sweeping out of the golden thread, instantly encompassing the entire surrounding area with a radius of several hundred feet, and Qiuling was caught in the ripples as well. As a result, she was instantly slowed down significantly. Even though she was still flying back, she was suddenly doing so at less than a tenth of her original speed, much to her alarm and astonishment. In contrast, the golden thread didn't slow down in the slightest as it continued to hurtle directly toward her. Qiuling's expression changed drastically, as countless patterns that resembled scales appeared over her entire body. Plumes of gray mist surged out of these patterns, and the law power fluctuations emanating from this gray mist was completely unaffected by the golden ripples as they enveloped her entire body to form a dense gray cloud that was several dozen feet in size. The gray cloud had only just taken shape when the thin golden thread vanished into it in a flash, and the cloud was instantly sliced into two, only to immediately fuse back together again. A muffled groan rang out from within the gray cloud, following which a section of an arm fell out from within, and it was still bleeding profusely. After slicing through the gray cloud, the golden thread continued to fly onward for several thousand feet before finally stopping. At the same time, the gray cloud abruptly began to churn violently, while radiating dazzling gray light, and it was able to struggle free from the golden ripples, flying to several thousand feet away in a flash. All of this had transpired in the blink of an eye, so Han Li didn't have a chance to stop her, and his brows furrowed slightly as he made a beckoning motion, upon which the golden thread flew back to him in a flash like a spirit snake, before vanishing into his body. Immediately thereafter, the gray cloud began to churn even more violently, while rapidly swelling to several thousand feet in size, and Qiuling's furious voice rang out from within it. "I didn't think you were hiding your cultivation base. I'll admit that you managed to fool me, but don't think that you've got the better of me. I've lost count of how many golden immortals I've killed, and you'll be the latest addition to the list." A burst of tremendous law power fluctuations erupted out of the gray cloud before spreading in all directions, and all of the surrounding world's origin began to churn and buzz, while a series of ripples that were visible even to the naked eye surged through the nearby space. Enveloped within this burst of law power fluctuations, Hanli was immediately struck by a sense of feebleness, and a sense of panic also welled up in his heart, as if he had fallen into a nightmare that he was unable to wake up from. Jintong's brows also furrowed slightly as her complexion paled slightly. Hanli quickly made a hand seal, and a burst of golden light erupted out of his body, forming a golden light barrier that encompassed both himself and Jintong. Bursts of time law powers were surging through the golden light, keeping the law powers released by the gray cloud at bay. And the feebleness and inexplicable panic that Hanli was experiencing instantly faded, while Jintong's expression also eased slightly. "You go and rest. I'll take care of her on my own," Hanli said as he turned to Jintong. "Mind your own business. This bitch imprisoned me for so long. I've been plotting her downfall this entire time. She may be strong, but there's no way she can break through my defenses. I'm more than capable of taking her down on my own, but I suppose I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself," Jintong harumphed as she raised a hand to make a beckoning motion, and the pair of translucent threads flew back into her body. A faint smile appeared on Hanli's face, and he made no attempt to argue with Jintong, as he turned his attention back to the gray cloud in the distance. The law power fluctuations emanating from the gray cloud were very similar to those from the spirit domain from before, but also slightly different. It seemed that she had mastered several types of laws, and was able to switch between them at will. However, Hanli was now a mid-golden immortal cultivator, and not only had his physical prowess been significantly enhanced thanks to his complete mastery of the great universe origin arts, his body was also brimming with tremendous immortal spiritual power, so he didn't fear cooling at all. Right at this moment, the gray cloud churned momentarily before suddenly fading away to reveal a gray dragon that was several thousand feet in length, giving off an immense aura. There was not a single scale on the dragon's body, but it was riddled with countless thick hooked spikes, and there were several particularly enormous bone spikes on its back, resembling a series of huge spears. The dragon's claws also resembled giant swords, presenting a harrowing sight to behold. I knew it. A hint of excitement appeared in Hanli's eyes at the sight of the gray dragon. "Looks like you've figured it out as well. Kuling's true body is the true spirit, Nightmare Dragon, and her bloodline is quite pure, so she's not going to be easy to defeat. You better redeem yourself. I'm not going to follow someone who gets beaten by the same person twice." Jintong scoffed with a disdainful look in her eyes. After that, she turned and flew away into the distance to observe the battle from afar. Meanwhile, Hanli cast his gaze toward the Nightmare Dragon in the distance, and he instantly shot forward through the air as a streak of golden light. In response, 2 balls of gray flames appeared within the Nightmare Dragon's eyes, and it opened its mouth to release a gray fireball the size of a house in retaliation. The gray fireball was giving off scorching heat, interspersed with bursts of tremendous law power fluctuations, causing the surrounding space to ripple violently. Hanli's expression remained completely unchanged, and he swept a hand through the air to release a dazzling streak of azure light, which transformed into a giant azure sword. The giant azure sword was giving off huge streaks of azure sword chi that threatened to tear the surrounding space to shreds, while thick arcs of golden lightning surged over the blade of the sword. The nearby world's origin chi erupted into a frenzy as countless specks of 5-colored light emerged, then fused together to transform the entire nearby space into a vast expanse of chaos. Now that Hanli had reached the mid-golden immortal stage, using his azure bamboo cloud swarm swords no longer placed much of a strain on him, and he was able to unleash its true power. Hanli made a hand seal, and the giant azure sword swept through the air to stroke the giant gray fireball, slicing it in half with ease. Hanli flew straight through the split fireball, only for 2 bursts of light, one black and one white, to shoot out of the 2 halves of the gray fireball like lightning, sweeping toward Hanli from 2 different directions. The burst of white light transformed into a giant white python that was several hundred feet in length, and it opened its mouth to release a cloud of white mist that was giving off fearsome glacial chi that was interspersed with countless snowflakes and white ice spikes. In the blink of an eye, the white mist formed a circular area of white ice and snow, and it descended from the heavens to completely inundated Han Li. Meanwhile, the burst of black light transformed into an inky black fish of comparable size. Its body was long and thin and covered in black spots, and its mouthful of sharp fangs gave it an extremely fearsome appearance. Arcs of black lightning were springing out of the black spots all over the black fish's body amid rumbling thunderclap, and they intertwined to form a forest of black lightning that also completely swallowed up Han Li in the blink of an eye. Concealed within the fireball, the pair of beasts had managed to get extremely close to Han Li and execute all of this in an instant. The white cloud and the forest of black lightning resembled a pair of enormous millstones with Han Li caught between them, and both were giving off tremendous law power fluctuations that threatened to crush Han Li into powder alongside his nascent soul.